The New Nigeria People's Party has said that it was fully prepared for the 2023 general elections, and that mobilization of citizens commenced the day the 2019 general elections ended. Now, this is contradicting, as it is on record, that the presidential candidate of the NNPP, former governor of Kano State, Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, joined the party on March 29th, 2022. We'll be taking a look at this, the readiness and the preparation of the party ahead of the election in less than 20 days. We have in the studio the national chairman of the party, Professor Rufai Ali. Thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak this morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning to all of you.
Well, I mean, the presidential candidate of your party, Rabiu Kwankwaso, joined the party in March 2022, and a lot of people will be saying, well, is he really prepared to take on what is ahead as far as the demands of an election requires?
Well, thank you very much. Well, just a small correction, he did not join NNPP on 28th or 29th of March. Rather, there was a merger between the national movement and the NNPP on March 1st, 2022. And that was the last day before INEC closed all issue of mergers between political parties and associations. Yes, the NNPP was there since 2001, but it's not been very strong nationwide. So the coming of the Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso and his team of the national movement changed the narrative. And we had, within the first 1 month, first part of it, we had to do what you call caretaker committees from top, bottom. And then we started elections from bottom up. So by the end of the March, we were able to have leadership of the party nationwide. So today, NNPP has the structures from the wards to the local governments, and then to the seats, to the zones, and then to the national level. So yes, many people felt that or thought that after the coming of PDP and APC, it would have been very difficult to have another political party. But you know, there are about 93 political parties in 2018, 2019. Some of them were deselected or deregistered by the INEC. But then some of them remained, including this NNPP. So on the nominal roll of the INEC today, we have 18. But our joining of NNPP changed the dynamics completely. And why many people are thinking that you cannot come out and with anything new, anything different, is because already we are used to the all new normal. That right. If things, even when they are bad, we are much happier and much more comfortable with them.
All right, Prof, let's start with the first election that we'll be having. It's 18 days to the presidential election. How ready is the NNPP?
I think we are, because one of the most important things you should know is that, for example, what is the state of the party today compared to all the other parties that we are having now on the nominal of the INEC. NNPP has everything on the ground. Not all the party structure as mentioned earlier, no. During the run-up to the primaries and submission of our names to INEC, we have been able to conduct all our primaries for all the positions in the country, from the House of Assembly, House of Reps, Senate, governorship, and then our presidential candidate. And we follow due process because we are conscious of the Electoral Act. We are also conscious of the provision of the Nigerian Constitution. We are also conscious of our own Constitution, our own guideline for our primaries. So we have been able to have our candidates all over the country. Secondly, we also adopted a different strategy in campaign. You know, the strategy has always been very loud, noisy. People flying from one state capital to another state capital, making noise, talking for about a minute or two, dancing and leaving. But then Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso came up with something very unique. In the past 5 months, he has gone toward virtually all part of the country, quietly, but efficiently and effectively. And he
but with a political.
Can I explain so that I don't lose
okay.
my thoughts?
Okay.
Yes. Sorry. Because our viewers will want to know the trend. Otherwise, we lose again.
Yeah, you said something that I wanted to say something
you
in
will
line.
You will say it. You will say it because it's very important. People know that this is a unique approach, that a presidential candidate is moving by road most of the time, and going to virtually most of the local government. I believe by now over 600 local government have been visited by him and our team, and then we go to villages, we go to local governments, we go to communities. So we bond with them, we relate with them, we understand their problems. It's not like just going and jumping. Initially, first phase was actually not campaign. Initial phase was to reach out, to know the people, let them know us, so that it's not that now it's time for election, I'm coming here, come vote for me. No, the first phase was more or less is softening the ground. And when we are sufficiently happy with that process, then by the time I open the corridor for campaign, then we move to the next level of now real reaching out to the people. There was a time he left for 1 week. He left from Abuja here, and he passed through Niger, he passed from Kwara, passed all the southwestern states, and reached Ibadan around 2 a.m. in the morning. No presidential candidate has ever done that. So what is happening is that, and then of course, finally, we have also launched our rallies at zonal rallies. We have done that in Bauchi for Northeast. We have done that for Kaduna for the Northwest. We have done that for Nasarawa for the North Central. And we have gone to Ibadan for the Southwest. And we are doing differently from the others. And now we are heading for South, and Southeast. So what you are saying here is that from the feelers, from the reaction of people, they're saying that this is the first time a presidential candidate is coming to know who they are and what they are concerned, what their feelings, what their problems. So that by the time he takes over authority of government on May 29, God willing, he is not going to be asking people what are the problems of the people, because he knows the problem.
Well, other contemporaries, your contemporaries in other political parties will argue that this is not the first time that politicians will be visiting people and be hearing from people. Instead, what happens is that after hearing from the people and speaking with them, at the end of the day, once the election season is over, they don't get to see the politicians again. So that's one thing. And then you talk about his strategy being very quiet and, you know, very unique and the rest of them. Some will say, well, with politics, can it really be quiet? Can you really, you know, be quiet? So if this strategy that you say is unique, isn't it just something that you may say, well, is because of his lack of popularity that people don't really get to hear as much as other candidates?
Well, I would resist the temptation of getting angry with you because you are my friend and brother, but for you to look at me and say Central Musa says I'm popular or lack of popularity, I feel is not a fair question from you, sir. But all the same, let me start from the earlier question. Yes, first, there's a lot of cynicism in this country, and it's justified. Because true, a number of occasions, politicians will come and campaign for elections. And at the end of the day, they disappoint. Is it not what we are facing today? Today, APC is symbolizes what you call the advanced form of, I don't want to say failure. I think if I say failure, I think I'm right. Because when they came in 2015, the feeling was that they are going to solve so miserable because they tried to rubbish everything that PDP did in 16 years. All right? They did that. They tried to rubbish it. Okay, since you rubbished the PDP at that time, fine. Do something different, something better. But you can see for every step they take, a series of mistakes and missteps. There's nothing that can explain this more than what is happening today. The issue of fuel crisis. The issue of currency change. The fuel crisis is not new, so you cannot blame APC completely on that. It's not been new. But the fact that the people in charge here know the system very, very well. They are directly in charge of this. They have known it before, that they should have given Nigeria a different leaf of life. But now, as we are facing election in few days, like we are just saying, 20 days, today nobody can be sure that you can move from wherever you are to your polling unit safely, comfortably, and vote and come out. That's what we are seeing now. Now, if we are talking about fuel crisis, it's a recurrent issue and it has come to this particular point it's not supposed to, and now we are talking about currency charge. We have been saying that there is no reason under the surface for the CBN to start unilaterally without coordinating with other agencies of government.
Okay.
Just like that.
So just so
just
that
to
we
go
don't
and say you want to change currency overnight, and then you don't do a template that this systematic, organized, scientific, which has been done in this country, which has been done in other part of the world. So, and you choose a time when you are getting ready for elections and you do it. And look at what you have.
Okay, just so we don't deviate.
No, we are not deviating, sir.
Yes,
we are trying
yes,
to...
let me just bring this out.
I have not answered that question of lack of popularity, remember, up to now.
Well, so that's what I'm waiting for.
Yes.
You are taking to another discussion already.
Yes.
Still talking about the issue of popularity, I want to know how concerned you are. The provisions of the Constitution provides that, you know, for you to win the election, you need at least, 25% in at least 24 states of the Federation. There are those who consider the NNPP candidate as, you know, just being popular from the northern part of the country. So are you concerned that he may not be able to pull the 25% in, you know, this number of states?
You see, I think, okay, let me address this. Is related to the first part of the second part of your earlier question. You see, the whole thing that you have to understand Nigeria as it is operating today. If you look at Central Musa Konkoso, and I'm not talking because I'm the national chairman of NNPP. Any Nigerian today knows. All those now that are contesting for the presidency of this country, let them put them in a basket. Don't talk Konkoso alone in isolation. What is their own claims? All the four of them. How they became something in Nigeria. All of them, the other things they can claim, the three of them, they were governors. Tinubu was a governor, Peter Obi was a governor, Konkoso was a governor. Of course, Atiku was never a governor. He was elected, but he was never, the election was not consummated. He became a vice president and became a vice president, and that was it. But after that, what else? Let's say Tinubu was a senator for a short period of time, but he had a full term of 4 years. Central Musa Konkoso. Then who was a minister? He was the only one who served also as a minister after that. And then see that, I remember, look at Kano, it's 44 local governments in the heartland of northern Nigeria. Before, during, and after he became governor, he has remained a phenomenon in northern Nigeria. Anybody who says that Konkoso is not a factor or an actor today in Nigerian politics, then he must have come from another part of the world. So for him to remain relevant and remain strong is not only because he was a governor. No, they were governors. Not because he was minister, they were ministers. And not because he was a senator, they were senators. But because while he was there, he was serving the people with all his heart and mind. He worked and looked at what of the areas that will affect their life of the ordinary citizens of the people. Education, healthcare, water, security, and social condition. So what I'm saying is that by the time he has, and this is not the first time he's contesting, he has contested before. But what we are saying here is that he has become a factor and actor, and that, remember, that when he came out, many people initially said, NNPP is not going nowhere. That's what they said. That's like you're trying to say. They said there's not going to go anywhere. We say, okay, fine. We are very comfortable with that. Police in police is good to be taken for granted. It gave us breathing space, gave us time to build the momentum. And now we have done that.
All right, Prof.
Today, you have even advanced a little further now. Is the second question that now he is a phenomenon in northern Nigeria. Yes, but let me tell you, there's no state in this country that Konkoso will go and people will not say, come out without any prompting, without funding, without crowdfunding, crowd mobilization. People will come because they believe in him.
Okay, Prof. I'm still on to the question by my co-anchor.
Yes.
When you talk NNPP, it's mostly Kano, Katsina, Jigawa. It doesn't appear as if the party has been able to break that boundary, that barrier. And are you, Prof, will you say today that NNPP is accepted very well in the South-South, Southeast, and Southwest. I know you've talked about his exploits as governor in Kano State, but is that enough, Prof?
Maybe it is the first time we are meeting with you here in this morning show, maybe the second time, but for an interview like this, the first time I'm having you. But I know that I had come to this Trust TV dialogue several times, and this question you're asking, we are past those levels. We are past those. For somebody to say that NNPP is a Kano affair or is a Sokoto affair, or we have passed that phase. We have passed, and I think the earlier people know this, the better. Let me tell you. Let me tell you what happened in Gombe, my own state. When we came in, NNPP, people say, Al-Qadi, last time you brought SDP, we are not interested. The other time, okay, you did PDP, fine. Now, NNPP, we are not sure. But let me tell you, in the past 10 months, since we are talking about March, no, things have changed in Gombe in a very radical and fundamental way that had not happened in the past. One of the elements was that we never had a member of House of Assembly, for instance. Not a single one, because there was no election yet. But through the effort, our own effort and the effort of our governorship candidate, Melantarki, already now we have 4 members of House of Assembly before going to general elections. And the last 2 weeks, the House of Assembly sat down and said, okay, PDP had 2, now we didn't have any. Now because we have 4, we are now the minority leader in the House of Assembly. In Bauchi, we have senators, sitting senators, who are now contesting for governorship or returning as senators and now at Leket. In every state you go around, either former senators, former governors, serving senators, serving members of the House are our candidates. So I think, well, because we sometimes, like I said, we have a fixated mind that it is either the PDP or APC, which to us are 2 sides of the same coin, that people are not ready, that we are ready to look ahead 2 years back, that these 2 parties are not going to manage Nigeria again. And look at it. So now while we are taking all the, we have our leader had the vision and commitment and determination. And through our own also support, we found that we believe that Nigeria of today is not Nigeria of yesterday. And therefore, for anybody to think that NNPP is a regional party or is a state party or is ethnic party, again, is missing the point.
All right.
The fundamental thing is that Nigerians need change, they need genuine change, and that in fact, are you happy with what is happening today? Let me ask the question. Are you happy?
Well, Chairman, the thing is, we need to give you the opportunity to tell those who hold those opinions, those perceptions about the NNPP being a regional party and the rest of them, which is why we're asking all these questions. So thankfully you've responded to them well enough. Let's talk about the plans of your candidate, Rabiu Kwankwaso. Nigeria is currently facing an energy crisis, if you like, going by the fuel queues that we see, the flip-flop in the supply chain. Also, whoever is going to become Nigeria's president is going to be inheriting about 77 trillion debt, So in terms of sourcing for revenue, to be able to deal with some of these issues, oil has been a major, contributor to our economy in terms of foreign exchange. What would your candidate be doing differently as far as energy is concerned in Nigeria?
Well, thank you very much. At least now you know that Nigeria requires change. And we need this change. Of course, like you said, the question was supposed to provoke me to explain further, which I have, that we keep on wondering why, when we know there are issues, there are problems, challenges facing our country, and we think that we want to do the same thing repeatedly on, and thinking that we're going to get different results. That's why we say we cannot, unless we break. In fact, if you may recall, sir, there was something came up into the Nigerian mind that there is a need for the third force. Nobody knew what that third force was all about. Its form, its character, its nature. But when the third force came, they did not recognize the deal with the third force. And as far as we are concerned, we say we are not even talking about third force. We are talking about the force. The reason is that people are fed up with what we are having. Now to your question. You see, that anybody who takes over Nigeria on 29th of May is not only inheriting 77 trillion naira of debt. In fact, it is the smaller part of the problem. The bigger part of the problem, you are inheriting a nation that is no more the same as it was before. The deep division in the country, which was created by politicians, self-serving politicians, deep division in the country. The first major challenge of anybody taking over now is to reunite this country. The second one is people are losing hope. In this platform here in Trust, not this one, the previous interaction I had, I said people have lost hope in the country, they have lost hope in democracy, they are even losing hope in themselves. Again, you must bring back that hope. Although some people are saying renewing hope, well, if you are part of the issue, the problem, how can you renew hope yourself because you are part of the problem? So we are saying that you have to, bring back, let people know that there is a day that they will also count. Nigeria today has, as an image, the third point, the image of a country today, as a Nigerian. I don't know when last you traveled out of the country and what went through the checkpoints. Today, when you go out, you can hardly be proud of yourself as a Nigerian. This is the story you are getting. So you are inheriting a country that is on its knees. So the issue of the economy, which APC promised, I think this is what we have gotten now after the final results. When the final results was announced on 29th of May, I don't know whether APC will be happy with the result of what they have done about the economy. Because there is nothing now that explains the unfortunate incident where the currency change has now affected virtually everything. I don't want to go back to that. Now, so what you're talking about, he is promising that linking the economy, the issue of education, job creation are related, and security. They are all one and the same. They are all interconnected. And that's why he said the first thing is that if you must talk about getting resources for the country to not only to pay for the debts or to manage them, but also to run the country as a whole and then to bring back life to the system, then it means you have to bring back security into the country. Apart from bringing hope, security, and that's why the government under NNPP is planning to have more military officers, more police officers, more better kitting, better welfare conditions, better technology. So because we have soldiers who are ready to fight in this country, who are killing, have been losing their lives because of this country. Oh. What they need is only a small push. So no, I wanted to relate this thing so that I don't miss again. It's very important because our viewers will have to understand this issue. They are connected. I don't want to go in just a point, jumping from point to point, because you ask a fundamental question, and that's the fundamental question Nigeria want to get answer to, and that is the economy and the security are connected. Therefore, talking about the trillions, yes, countries have debts, but some manage them. Some don't money.
But for you to be able to do that, you need to be able to fund the military, for instance. If you talk about addressing the issue of insecurity, you need a lot of funding to be able to provide, to be able to recruit more personnel into the defense force or the armed force. You need a lot of money to invest in equipment, in military hardware and the rest of them. Where is the money going to come from?
Yes, it's a very good question. And it's not even the issue of education. When he said we're going to provide education and education for the youth, people ask the same question. But I believe you and me and my sister will agree that one, there is lack of priorities in this country. If there are proper prioritization of the issues in this country, you cannot take security as a secondary factor, or even education as a secondary factor, as it's been done now. Only recently universities were closed for 9 months. It's part of a decay in the system which cannot be recovered so easily. Now, so lack of priority is a problem. Secondly, mismanagement of resources. You and me here, we read every day in the newspapers. Today we open your paper. Billions of naira missing here and there. In the past we talk about millions. Now we are leading to trillions. Now, whether it's true or not, the fact that people are talking about this amount of money, is wasted. or is is taken away by somebody or group of persons, is sufficient to point to let you know that Nigerian resources are being plundered. Last point on this matter, again, the security we are talking about again. I'm sorry today, I hope I'm not being stubborn. The security again. We have been saying, and our leader has been saying that if, for example, OPEC gave us, let's say, a maximum of, let's say, 2.2 million barrels per day, calculated by the average rate of the dollar per barrel, okay? And then, but you cannot produce up to that. You produce maybe 1 million, or a little more, a little less. Are you not losing 1 million barrels every day? And that much, why are you losing that? Because of the security of the infrastructure in the oil sector. So if you can provide the security, it means the money you are looking for is already, it can take care of itself. So it means that while you must secure the country, you must secure our assets. National assets must be secured and protected. Of course, remember that the securing of the lives and property is the primary one. But then you must also secure the asset. And when you do that, you do the prioritization, and then you also eliminate excesses.
Prof, that's why our viewers and people who maybe support your party will want to hear specifics. For instance, he asked about where the fund is going to come from. Mr. Chair, you haven't answered the question. And also, so that you put them together, your candidate is key on education. Oftentimes he talks about the fact that people will not have to pay for JAM and all of that. And Nigerians would like to know, where is he going to get the money to fund all of this? Putting into consideration the economic situation of the country at the moment.
When I was talking, I was not replying you, I was answering you. Maybe you didn't listen to me, my sister, very well. 3 areas I mentioned. First, I said there is wastage. 2, I said the lack of priorities. 3, we said the sources of our revenue, assuming that we are not even talking about agriculture and other sectors of the economy, we are even talking about oil alone. Now, we say we are not getting the best from the oil sector itself. This is not what we are saying. We are saying that assuming if you are supposed to produce 2 million barrels every day and you are producing less than that, already you are losing amount every day. You're losing amount, like you are losing half of the amount of money you are collecting every day. So it means already it's the West. You are losing money, which is available for you from the oil sector that now we are talking the major contributor to the foreign exchange earnings. Then we are saying that there is a lot of lack of priority. If you spend money on other issues, for example. Well, you may say it's too much politics. I had a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a serving minister today. He was campaigning. He said they have money enough to win elections. If they have money enough to win elections, how can they have no money enough to manage security situation in this country? I don't want to go to that far at that point. So now we are saying that you also prioritize. If you prioritize in education, on security, then it means, for example, in the case of the security, and that's they are dialectically connected, is that by saying that you are going to recruit 1 million policemen, 1 million military, you are removing at least at that point in time 2 million youth out of the streets, who are also supposed to be productive and helpful, not only protecting the security, but also taking care of their families. And then we say also, NYSC, when they finish, they complete their 1 year. You also, before you open another corridor for them to also, if they wish to join the military or the police, they could also be given that rather than from the job market and they're looking for people to recruit in the services. And there is a system that we are also creating, which it makes it easier even to recruit police and security without recruiting back into the system. That is the community participation and reorientation committees at the ward level and local government. So what we are saying is that there's a systematic way of doing it. Now, if people now, the issue of corruption that people have been talking about is that also government want to discourage it. It's not to allow the problem to come and become you pursue people, discourage it in the first place.
How?
Yeah.
How? Let's get specific. How will your candidate
You see, if government is firm, our government must be firm. For example, there's a slogan we have that anybody who is given an assignment, any responsibility at whatever level, will be given targets. If you don't meet the targets, then you are going to be the target. Meaning, anybody who messes up at whatever level, first and foremost, will not be allowed to continue. For example, if somebody, like a minister who, let's say, who is given to go and negotiate with labor, okay? Let's say like the Minister of Labor. I don't want to mention his name, you name. You know, the way he managed that Minister of Labor and Productivity, the way he managed the issue of ASU negotiation, even as somebody, not a politician, shouldn't do that. You know? So every way that you can avoid crisis, avoid conflict, you should avoid it. Meaning that you have to engage people, carry everybody along, so that everybody, if we have a sense of belonging. In the issue of education sector, we are talking about is that in this country, we play with it. But no country which wishes to succeed and advance that can joke with its education sector.
Okay, let's talk about this education. There are those who say that, look, in terms of education, yes, we have a very high number of out-of-school children, but at the tertiary level, we churn out thousands of graduates every year who end up graduating without jobs. So in terms of job creation, what can we do aside from just educating people and they leave the institutions? What's your candidate going to do about the unemployment in the country, which experts believe is even way above the official statistics given of 33%? What will he do about job creation?
I think, let me answer in two ways. One, philosophically speaking, knowledge itself is an end in itself, philosophically speaking. But it's also a means to further ends. So having education is good, because if people are educated, at least the kind of thing you see, okay? Can you compare somebody who has a degree, whether he got a job or not? Somebody who got a master, whether he has a job or not, he has a PhD, whether he got a job or not, compare with somebody who's roaming the street today with no future whatsoever. But having a bachelor's degree, having a master, having a PhD is not enough today in this country, because you also have to create opportunity for them to be engaged. And that the best way to go about it is that by time today, you streamline the system, you bring back security. I can assure you that there is so many opportunities for jobs. Remember, today, who is that foreign investor who will take money and resources, or local investor who will take money and resources to invest in any major sector of the economy today in this country? There are too many. Because somebody told me that capital is a coward. I don't know what that meant. But what it means is that no investor, no businessman will go and invest in an area where there is crisis. Now, if a situation now where farmers cannot go to farm, cattle rearer cannot go to cattle rearing, fishermen cannot go to do fisheries, traders cannot go to market, everything, nobody is going to do his own irregular, even the jobs that are there available for us. How much more of getting to invest for educated people? So what it means that you have to stabilize the security environment. You have to stabilize and bring better conditions in the country so that you can attract local and international people to invest in every sector of the economy in this country. The other one is what people are now emphasizing is also what they call skill acquisition. Skill acquisition means that beyond the degree you have, or master's or whatever, you must also learn to stand on your feet. It's also possible only when the environment is right and is ready. So I think all options will be explored. Everything will be done to bring back life to the system.
All right, Prof, it's 18 days to the presidential election.
Thank you for reminding me.
And there's the problem of fuel scarcity and then scarcity of cash. Some persons have said that it could affect the election. What's the position of your party on that?
You see, that was the question I wanted to answer when my brother said I was veering off. And I'm happy you are raising that again. You see, elections, transitional elections like this, whenever they come with their own unique characteristics. Every transition from one government to another, they come up with their own special problems. And therefore, but we are lucky today that the only thing we can say we are very proud of is that today we are going to about the 7th cycle of general elections or thereabout. So at least we have done first, second, third, and fourth, so we have seen the challenges. And but we also feel that if there's a person who benefited from an election that was deemed to have been free and fair, is the current president of this country. Because about three things. One is that even where there are difficult circumstances, difficult security challenges around the country, elections at least were said to have been done as done, and then results were announced. Secondly, even before results were finally announced, the sitting president called him and said, "Sir, I have accepted, even though the results have not been announced, the verdict of the people," and congratulated him. And thirdly, the PDP and the President Jonathan did not go to court. So it's a very seamless transition. Very seamless. Even though it was very hot, even though it was very tense, people were angry, but it at least because of the magnanimity of President Jonathan, I think things sorted out themselves. So the same thing this government owes Nigerians, that they will avoid everything that will bring tension in them. And that's why we are talking about, already we have this, in the recent past we have had, we have been following the crisis in the Northwest, which has been just expanded. Only recently, over 70 people were killed in the Northwest, I think Katsina, I'm sure. Look at what happened in Nasarawa. Over 40 people were killed. Every day, number is increasing. Now, what we are saying here is that if already you have subsisting crisis, so when you have the issue of fuel crisis and then currency change, it adds up to the problem. And then people will now take advantage of this. Well, we as a party, we've been calling our supporters and other Nigerians as a whole, please let people remain calm. We don't want any agitation on this. No, we don't want people to go to take to the street and begin to cause trouble, which will now affect us as a whole. No matter what happened, it has happened now. Whether good intention or whatever, that we are now in a state of flux. Therefore, we have to manage this situation. Therefore, but we want to call on the federal government to stand up now. One, to reduce this escalation of crisis. In the South is now. We have what? Sit at home on Mondays. Sometimes they even go on Tuesdays. Sometimes even on any other day they can choose any day. Even on election day they can decide to say they sit at home. So these are the things that government will watch. And then the issue of the fuel, everything should be done to in the next few days to be addressed quickly so that people can start. Even I need fuel to move its personnel and election materials. And then even the security agents that are going to supervise this election, they need to move around.
Do you also support those who call for the extension of the deadline for the expiration of the narratives?
We have been very consistent. We have been very consistent that yes, anything that can be done to ease this situation should be done. Because we understand that by the Central Bank Act itself, you can have up to 6 months to do this, not 3 months. And then you see the thing about this currency is very unique and very untidy. Only some particular currencies were decided to be changed: 200, 500, 1,000. But what about the 50? What about the 20? What about the 100? Where are they? Are they going to be changed? If they are not going to be changed, why are they not available? At the smaller level for people who want to go into taxi or keke or run small businesses, even those ones that are not being changed are not available. So what you are saying is that we have never seen a situation where somebody will be sitting down today in the central bank and say today, give them 20,000. Tomorrow, no, give them 10,000. Tomorrow, don't give them. A check now, you cannot get cash on the counter. You cannot get this. It's only under a military rule it can happen, not under civilian government. Even under military, I'm telling you, military rulers, well, some of them will not do this kind of things. So it is a bit messy. And I think what is why we say that first, we are calling for government to do everything possible to have the empathy, to extend it. They are going to lose nothing. If they are talking about people not to amass this money, put them behind their people, or some people already have removed them. They have already taken, we have heard a story of some people already carrying this, hiding them somewhere. Even recently we heard that the security agents have been catching people with money being hidden here and there. So the more you make it scarce, the more you increase the chances of people to hoard it.
Okay, specifically there are those who believe that this policy will check the issue of vote buying, and some people in the opposition have also supported the government in this area.
Absolutely, yes. But you see, the issue is that they say that in trying to do some small gyara for this your eyelash here, don't remove your eye. Because from what, I don't want to talk on this, but what we are hearing is that some people are already gone far. They are not sleeping because some of them have advanced information that this thing could happen.
Gone fine what?
Manipulating the system, there are people who are there, sophisticated in manipulating the system. You are journalists, you can tell me more about this. Therefore, those people who are crying now that they are going to be hurt by this system have already been able to take care of themselves. I don't want to talk more than that. Therefore, what is the person who is losing out is the ordinary citizen.
All right.
Yeah?
All right, thank you so much. National Chairman of the NNPP, Professor Rufai Alkali, thank you for joining us on Daybreak this morning and sharing perspectives on some of these issues.
Thank you very much.